Hi, my name is Matthew Nichols. I'm the Director of Percussion Studies here at Florida Atlantic University, and I wanted to go through a couple of tips and tricks that I utilize to prepare this all-state excerpt. First thing we want to talk about is making sure that our hands are even from right to left. So whether we're playing a grouping of three and it starts with the right hand and I go right, left, or if I go left, right, left, it shouldn't change the sound of what we're playing. So make sure you're listening to your hands to make sure your right hand and your left hand are sounding just as even, regardless of what sticking you're playing. The next thing we have to talk about is making sure that our rolls are nice and full. At this speed, 120 beats per minute, it's really tricky for us to get a very clear, full roll without losing some of the momentum. Now we can utilize 16th note speed hand motions within our rolls, but we want to make sure that the pressure that we're utilizing allows for a full buzz stroke connecting to the next hand to play. Otherwise, if we have any separation because our hands are too tight or buzzes are too closed, we're going to start to hear both hands pretty easily. So make sure you're getting a nice, smooth and connected roll regardless of the dynamic or the speed of your hands. Now the embellishments are tricky because they happen sometimes after a rest and at a new dynamic, or they happen back to back with crescendos or all at the same dynamic. We want to work on making sure that all of our flams are consistent regardless of if it starts with a grace note on the left hand with a primary note on the right or the opposite. And then same thing with the grace notes that are the drags or the roughs. Regardless of which hand it starts on or what dynamic it is, they all need to be the same space before the primary note. So it doesn't mean that the softer you play, the looser they should be, and the louder you play, the tighter they should be, or vice versa. They should always be the same consistency regardless of the dynamic. And it's really tricky when we get to measure 29 where we have a forte dynamic and flam passages, but no accents. It's really hard to not want to just accent those flam passages. So work on bringing out the inner notes or the non-flammed notes, chaka-da, so that we can keep that rhythm as even as possible. It's not cha-da-da, cha-da-da, zzz-da-da, cha-da-da, zzz. It's cha-da-da, cha-da-da, zzz-da-da, cha-da-da, zzz-da-da-da, cha-da-da, zzz. It's got to have that consistency all the way through. And then the last thing is the rests. We have long periods of rest, and those are not fermatas that we take as long as we want, and they're not abbreviated breaths. They are full, whole measure, and because we're in 3/4, that means 3 beats of rest. I like to tell my students that a rest is a performed silence. It's not that we get to take a break and relax and not think about anything. Instead, when we play the rests, we need to be playing the silence. Something I like to do is I like to fill that silence with something else, whether it's the tapping of my toe, clicking of my tongue, or just me screaming in my mind for no one else to hear but myself. I'm always making sure that I count through and I perform those silences in a way that allows me to not become late to the next entrance or get there too early. So these are just a couple of tricks that I've utilized to help prepare myself, and hopefully they help you in your preparation. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, I hope this has helped today, and I wish you all the best as you continue to prepare for your all-state audition.